Alright guys, hey Zinc here, welcome to the channel. This video is going to seem a bit weird if you're someone who watches my content regularly, but it's something I wanted to talk about. Basically, it's been prompted by a comment had a conversation that I seen yesterday on Discord. In fact, I replied to this conversation. I won't say directly who it was, but I feel like the way that this person is feeling is something that a lot of people feel. I feel myself, and it's something I want to talk about because, like, to be honest, it seemed to be a couple of years ago that it was the hip thing or the trend to talk about like mental health and how people were feeling and stuff like that. So if you are not interested in hearing a discussion about that type of thing, then this obviously isn't the video for you. But at the end of the day, I care about people who live, who interact with my videos, who I talk to. Just in general, I care about people, so I just wanted to like talk about this subject, and you know, if it could help someone, then awesome. If not, then you've learned a bit more about me along the way. So the comment basically was essentially they feel empty, they feel nothing, you know, can't really get into anything because nothing gives them joy, and they know themselves that that is related to depression. I made a flippant remark in reply saying, welcome to being an adult. But that's just because in my head, I've just associated depression with life. Now, a bit of background about me. I, for years, thought I had simply depression and anxiety. When I was really young, my mum passed away through not the best ways. And I faced, I want to say, challenges. Like, I never particularly felt it was as a result of my mum dying, but maybe it was, you know, like I had issues with substance abuse and gambling addictions and stuff like that, and it was all about trying to fill an emptiness that I felt, a void that I felt inside. I just never really felt satisfied with life. I always just felt like there should be more, you know, things that you would think would bring you joy, would bring you satisfaction, just didn't do it, you know. And I would go through life just feeling nothing, like, is the best way to put it, you know. And I had to have some sort of a outside thing bringing me that feeling of something of like satisfaction, you know. It never happened though. It literally, even when smoking weed or whatever it was very fleeting, you know. It would give like momentary feelings of satisfaction, but realistically it was just masking the feelings that I felt inside. Just last year I was diagnosed with ADHD, and I found out that a lot of what I was feeling was probably caused by the ADHD, but because I was 40 years old by the time I was diagnosed by that, the depression and anxiety that had developed throughout the years is still there. It's still a thing. It's still something that I personally struggle with on a day-to-day basis, you know, like where I don't feel satisfied, I don't feel fulfilled a lot of the times. Things that I did in life to make me feel more fulfilled, like I always wanted to have a family. I mean, I did genuinely want to have a family. It wasn't just to make me feel not depressed. And then we had struggles doing that, and when we finally had kids, both my children turned out twins, and they both have autism spectrum disorder with learning disabilities on top of that. One of them can't speak and hurts himself a lot and is very challenging, and the other one is challenging in a different way, but not the same way. And because of the mindset that I've been in for years and years and years, it's like, why is it always me? You know, like this victim complex in my head where I just feel like, why does the world always kind of pick on me or do the bad things to me? But it doesn't. It doesn't. That's just my personal state of mind, you know. And there's a lot of people out there that probably have that in life. They go through life. People will call it a victim mentality. I don't think that's what it is. I just think it's basically things in your head due to mental health issues make you kind of view the world through a lens that this is bad, this is bad, this is bad, why is the bad stuff always happening to me? And the actual reality is what goes on in your life, the challenges that you face, the challenges that I face, the challenges that everyone faces are probably very much the same for everyone. You know, everyone goes through life being presented with challenges, being presented with things that seem tough, and it's just how they kind of relate to those issues, how they pardon me, how they overcome those issues that kind of shape their viewpoint on the world. And that's possibly where this victim mentality phrase comes from, but again, I don't think that's what it is. I think the issue that we as people, we as society kind of face in this day and age is the world's changed, right? I'm 40-year-old, and I remember when friends were friends. They were people you would go and have a drink with down the pub, or someone who you would call up and chat to and arrange to go and meet and go shopping or whatever. Whereas the world we live in now, a lot of our friendships are formed in a kind of faceless, contactless way. And what I mean by that is, in a lot of ways, we've moved away from actual physical contact, and we now do a lot of our conversating or friendships online with, let's be honest, people we've never met, people who may not even be who they claim to be, who they present themselves as, you know. They are essentially a Goku avatar on a screen that has a chat with you, or they are someone who might tell you they're male when they're female, and this has nothing to do with trans or whatever, but just, you know what I mean? It's like people don't always appear to be what they are, and you can build up these contacts online, and one day they just, like that, they're gone, you know, like they don't log back into the app that they use, or they don't play the game that they use, and they're gone, and you suddenly feel lonely again, you know. And a lot of people who have like mental health issues and who have depression, anxiety and stuff like that, it can really get them down, because that can be the one thing that was their anchor to kind of feeling normal, to feeling like everything's okay, you know. They can latch on to something like, for example, I'm known for doing gacha games, you know, and this is where this conversation came up in a community. And like something like a gacha game, just as an example, can be something that someone latches on to try and make them feel attached to something, to feel involved with something. But that in particular is quite dangerous, and the reason I say that is because it's gambling, you know. It is. It's like you're latching on to trying to get a thrill from something, and they can make you feel worse because you are relying on something else providing you that fulfillment, right? And the thing is, ultimately, the only thing that can provide that fulfillment, that can stop you feeling that kind of emptiness or that nothingness, is you. You can't rely on it coming from outside factors. Sure, you can go to doctors, sure, you can take medication and stuff like that, and those things can certainly help you. They can, 100% they can. Finding the right people to talk to who maybe are in similar situations, who have been in similar situations, can be a great help. It can make you feel better, it can allow you to offload the way that you're feeling, and sometimes you can just simply find out, you know what, so I'm not the only one that feels that way. I'm not weird. Well, you might still be weird, I mean, I'm weird, right? But just having that, knowing that there's someone else out there, that you're not alone, you're not the only one that feels the way that you feel, can sometimes just make you have a different perspective on life, you know? Sometimes going to the doctor, and if you've been, like, I'll use me as an example, if you've been going for years about anxiety, depression, you've tried medication, you've tried different things, doctors honestly are not as much of the expert as you might think. They're specialists in all these different fields, and sometimes you just have to be in front of the right specialist who knows your symptoms, who knows what you're displaying, and you might actually find out you've not got depression. You might have, not to freak anyone out, but you might have like a personality disorder, you might have bipolar, you might have ADHD, you might have autism spectrum disorder. There's loads of different things that they can figure out how to help you, and it can maybe sometimes help you overcome these feelings that you have where the world feels shit, it feels nothing, it feels like you're not getting anywhere or nothing ever goes your way. This video isn't really about me trying to make anyone feel better or worse. I mean, I hope it can make you feel better, right? Because I feel like just sharing your experience, talking about how you sometimes feel, the way that other people feel, can make those other people feel better about things, just because they know it's a bit of a shared experience. They know that they're not the only one struggling. And while a lot of times I hear this said about men, like men don't open up and men don't talk about these things, I can't personally say that that's been something that I've ever really had an issue with. And again, ADHD, I didn't know it at the time. I've always had a history of oversharing, which to be honest has pushed people away quite a lot. And so I can't 100% relate to men keep things bottled up. I more or less have the issue with, I feel like when I talk about my feelings at times, some people might think, oh, here we go again, he's talking about how this, he's talking about that, oh, I'm sick of hearing this. That was a bit of a challenge for me, but I understand that other people out there don't have that. They bottle everything up inside and they're scared to talk. They don't think that there's anyone that is there to listen to them without judging them or making them feel a certain way. What I would say to that, and this is difficult, right? This is difficult to kind of reason yourself with, if that's the right way of putting that, but who gives a fuck, right? You do you. If you need to spill, if you need to talk, if you need to get your feelings out there, choose the right people first of all. Don't just do it to someone who's going to judge you, right? Because people are assholes, right? There's people in the world that are assholes that will judge you because they've got what they deem to be a perfect life, but nobody's got a perfect life, right? And they think everyone who doesn't line up to their way of thinking is in the wrong. Like my kids, for example, I still get the whole vibe from people of bad parenting, you know? Like there's people in this world that honestly don't think autism and disabilities should affect how a child is. You know, it's the parents' fault. Oh, yeah, sure, no bother, mate, right? But it's the same with depression and anxiety. People just honestly think, go outside to touch grass, go out, make some friends. But I can tell you this, as a 40-year-old man, even back in the day when we did used to have these more face-to-face contacts, when we used to have going out with actual friends, meeting people in clubs and all the rest of it, if you're someone who through depression and anxiety has isolated, who doesn't have many forward-facing friends, it's not really easy to just go out in the world and make friends. It's not. That's why we rely on things like the internet and stuff like that. But if you can, if you do feel extremely down, if you do feel like every day is a struggle, where I don't mean you're giving up in life, but you feel that way, you know, you feel internally that what's the point? There's nothing happening, what's the point? Then there is things out there, there is groups, you'll find that there's things in your local area where there will be other people who feel the same way as you. And I know this because I've faced this myself. In your head you might be saying, oh, I don't want to go and sit in a room with a bunch of people that feel down and depressed. How's that going to make me feel any better? Because, do you know what? You meeting that one person or those two people within that room that feel like you feel, when you start talking to them, when you start opening up and when they start opening up to you, that's not their driving force. I mean, they want to have the same things that you do. They want to have connections, they want to have friends, they want to view each day through a positive, I've said lens twice now, right? But they want to kind of have a better view on life. They want to have things in their life. They want to cultivate these friendships. They want to cultivate these positive experiences. It's just sometimes making that first step for them, just like for you, can be difficult. So if you open up to them, they open up to you, who cares if it comes through a group for people who are struggling with their mental health? Because you could meet your best friend in life. In fact, for all you know, you could meet your next partner at one of these things. And if it makes you feel better, if it makes you feel more positive in your own skin, and it makes you stop being reliant on things like, if you are using substances, if you are using actual gambling or game type gambling to try and fill that emptiness that you feel inside, you might not need that anymore, because you might actually cultivate a more positive experience, and you might see an upturn on how you feel in life. For the 5th time, I think now, I'm saying I'm a 40-year-old man. I still don't have all my mental health issues in check. I still struggle with stuff quite regularly, honestly. But at the end of the day, I'm working on it. You know, for me, I try to work on my physical health, which I've lost a lot of weight. I mean, feel a bit better. Just trying to interact more with people around about me, trying to take up more interests and hobbies. I know it sounds boring, but reading, stuff like that, you know, just trying to engage my mind in things that are more positive than just dwelling on the mental negative thoughts that are in my head has made me feel like a better person. And you know what, if you watch this video and you think, hey Zink, you've just spoke for like nearly 18 minutes and you've not helped me much, do you know what, see if there's one person that watches this video and they feel better, they feel like, you know what, I'm not the only person, you know, then if that makes them feel better, if that makes them feel like they've got a connection, if that makes them feel like, you know what, if he's been able to improve his life even 20%, even 30%, then I can do it too, you know, then I have achieved what I set out to achieve with this video. I am not someone who really cares about putting myself out there to be vulnerable, to get negative comments. I don't care. I really do not care. I'm often called negative for talking about things in a more real world scope, real life scope, whatever. So if I get any negative feedback to this video, honestly, I don't care. All I care about is if there is even 1, 2, 3 people out there who just feel at their lowest and they feel like life sucks. Maybe, just maybe, if this is a catalyst that makes them go, do you know what, I'm going to talk to someone, I'm going to speak to my doctor, I'm going to ask to speak to a mental health professional, I'm going to go to a group, I'm going to speak with like-minded people who maybe will understand me a little bit better, then do you know what, I've achieved my goal with this video. Normally I put out gacha content, that's what I do, but I was dwelling a lot on what was said last night, and I just thought, you know what, I've got a platform, why not use it to try and speak to people on a more personal level? And like I say, if it can help 1 or 2 people feel better, then I've done what I wanted to do. Anyway, completely different video, not what you would expect, but you know what, at the end of the day, I'm human and I care about people, and I don't like to think anyone is just suffering and kind of going through life thinking that they're the only person that feels shit, because a lot of people feel shit, they do, and it's how you kind of move on from that that kind of shapes how things are going to be for you going forward. There's a lot of people who are young, like a lot younger than me, who feel that way, and the quicker you can get yourself past that mindset, and I say past that mindset, mental health issues unfortunately have a habit of staying with you. But if you can learn how to manage them and learn how to notice when things are going to be bad for you, then in future it can be easier to manage these things and easier to deal with them. But yeah, if you feel any kind of way, just know that there's other people that feel that way, and sometimes just speaking about it, sometimes just offloading, not getting hung up on cruxes like addiction and all the rest of it, food for some people, but just kind of getting a handle on it can make you start to make positive changes in life that can slowly start to turn things around. There's no quick fixes in life, but you are in control. And ultimately, if you understand that you're in control of how you feel and how you view the world, then things can start to get more positive for you and things can start to be better for you. Anyway, I don't want to say the whole it's okay to not be okay, because do you know what? It's not. I mean, it is okay to not feel okay, but it's not okay to stay that way. You want to try and see if you can make yourself feel better. You don't want to just dwell on like the negative feelings that you've got. You want to try and turn them into positive feelings. You want to try and, if you can, eke more joy out of life. So I don't like the term it's okay to not be okay, because it just makes it sound like it's okay to be that way. You just do you and stay that way. No, you want to try and tackle it, and you want to try and connect with people that can help you just view the world differently and make positive changes to kind of make your life better, to make you feel happier, and just to make you feel more content with life. But anyway, that's it. Strange video from me, but again, I just wanted to share this because I wouldn't say it got me down, it just got me thinking when I seen that last night. And I know that there's millions of people in the world that feel that way, and it can be difficult when you make a post on somewhere like Discord and maybe one or two people make a throwaway comment for 2 seconds, and then quickly it moves on to something else. You can kind of feel like you're not heard. You can sometimes feel like what you're saying doesn't matter to people, and it's not the case. There's always going to be people out there that see what you say, and maybe they just don't have the confidence to reach out. Maybe they just don't have the confidence to feel like they can discuss things and give advice. I don't feel like I'm qualified to give advice, but I feel like if I'm just sharing my experience and you can take something from that, then hey, I've done my job. Anyway guys, I've been hazing. Thanks for watching.